and you need to know your metrics in order to start saying, hey, do we need to start hiring, for next year or for 3 months from now? Because when you realize you need another inspector, you're at least 3 to 6 months out, depending on who you find, what their skill level is.
Can you break down, like, for those listening that are not in IEB, let's let them in on the convo. If you could break down kind of that part of what Aaron was getting at in terms of even just understanding basic market share, what that would look like for, say, a solo guy that's like, okay, well, how do I do that? What does that mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, you need to kind of get your market's numbers. And that really depends on your region, right? If you're in a big city area, what we're doing is we're concentrating on Cook County, which is Chicago and a decent part of the surrounding suburbs, the suburbs that surround Chicago. So you're taking the information from, if you have access to the MLS, or if a realtor who has access, or even, if you're just a solo inspector getting started, just get some sort of publication that maybe publishes that information, because some information is better than nothing.
I think everyone knows a realtor that should be able to give them access.
Yeah,
that's the hope,
yeah.
Right? Everyone's got to know.
If you have a friend, or take them out to dinner,
yeah,
do something just to get the information, because it is important. And so let's just say, I'm just gonna keep the math simple. So let's say in Cook County there was 10,000 properties that went under contract. Okay. And then
for the year,
for a month,
okay.
For a month. Yeah. So let's say August, there was 10,000 inspections, and we did 100 inspections in the month of August.
Mm-hmm.
So you divide 100 by 10,000, and that gives you 1% market share. So that means you own 1% of your market. Now you want to do that on a monthly basis. And it's always going to be, it's never going to be like, oh yeah, we're steady, because there's different factors. But if you plot it enough over time, you should start to see it actually go upward, versus
mm-hmm.
downward, or stay steady. If you start seeing it go downward, that means you're losing market share. And the reason that's important is, like, you might be steady in your business, but maybe the market's just really hot at that time. And the market being hot, eventually you're losing ground. So when the market maybe adjusts later on, you're actually, in the head going to get a dip in your overall inspections when the market adjusts eventually to that. But same thing for, a larger company. You might have a dip 1 month, but then you look at the number, you actually gained market share because you took a larger percentage of those inspections. And this is where it comes important for, like, hiring. A lot of business owners will look at, like, oh, we didn't do as well last month, we need to start getting into scarcity mode and cutting budget and doing all this. Whereas if you're starting to track those trends, you're like, well, I might actually need to start thinking about hiring someone right now and get that process going to hire. Because if our market percentage rises, just think about when it's going to get busy next year, we're going to have too many jobs.
Boom. Yeah.
As well. So it's really important to look at those numbers, and versus, like, yeah, everyone likes to look at revenue because it's money, right? It's like, okay, we get all this money, so we're trending right. But if your market is doing really well, that's gonna fall. So then you might hire someone based off that, and then when things dip down, then you're not gonna have enough to kind of feed that inspector. So
I think this is such a simple calculation. What percent of inspectors would you guess even do this on a monthly basis? 1, 2?
Yeah. Not. I mean, I would say probably a lot of the bigger inspection companies are starting to do this type of work, not the small man shop. And to be honest, it's just like you're balancing a lot of things, and the one you're looking at, like, the one last thing you're like, oh, I need to pull all these data and pull all this metrics, and either hire someone to do it, or spend a Friday evening crunching the numbers and want to do that. But it's so important, especially if you want to grow. And even if you're a solo inspector shop, you want to know where you're kind of positioned, because you also want to know, hey, am I starting to go down, because that could spell issues for you. I mean, as a solo inspector, you're probably gonna hit a cap, of how many inspections you can actually do per the market, and you want to make sure that you're not losing market share, because you get too busy, you might start losing realtors because they need someone sooner. So you want to have, like, the sooner you know that information, the better.
Yes.
And I
I
think
know we're beating
that's,
this to death, but like, gosh, there's probably no more important time to think about this when times are feeling at their best and interest rates next year have a high chance of ticking up, which could, bring volume of closings down or under contracts down. So it's like, you got to know your numbers, especially if we contract even a little next year, right?
yeah. And then when you see that contraction, that's going to spell like people who aren't following the market, that's when they're going to get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and where people who are prepared for that and see that their market's gaining, they're going to actually use that to flip on the up and be like, we can capture more market now.
Yep.
Because there's people who are getting out of the industry because they didn't plan ahead.
So PSA, be prepared, know your numbers. This is a small way to start too. I love how approachable it is. Take one number, divide it by another.
Hi everyone, this is Louis from Spectora. I'm going to put 3 links down in the description below. The first link is for you if you like Spectora, but maybe you just have a couple questions. You can schedule a 15-minute discovery call with someone from our client success team to make sure that Spectora is a great fit for you. It is, by the way. If you're ready to dive in and start using the app, the second link is for our free trial. With the average cost of a home inspection, that's a couple $1,000s that you'll pocket before you pay us a dime. And the third link is for our Spectora Jumpstart program. If you're a brand new home inspector, you probably need a website, or maybe you have a website that you just kind of threw up real quick and you're not super thrilled with it. In the Jumpstart program, we'll make you a great website based on feedback from you to make sure that it reflects your business, your market, and you. We'll optimize it for search engines, and we'll put an online scheduler on your website too, so you can spend less time on the phone and more time out in the field working. We'll also bundle it with a full year of the Spectora app, and we'll do it at a great price too. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you check out other videos on this channel, and take care.